The boy joined the army for the first time and was surprised to find someone else's name sewn on his uniform. He immediately asked for a replacement, but the officer secretly tore off the tag and then gave it back to the boy. When he got the new uniform, Paul looked especially happy, but he would never have imagined the new clothes came from a dead soldier. On the battlefield, the Germans removed uniforms from the dead and sent them all to the rear. After simple processing, these clothes were given to new recruits again. When the new soldiers headed to war, the general gave a passionate speech, telling them they were bringing glory to the nation. The boys became very excited, but when they stepped onto the battlefield, they finally realized the horror of war. After barely surviving, before he could recover, the officer gave him another task, to collect dog tags from the dead and remove their uniforms. At that moment, Paul finally understood why their uniforms had others' names. Paul's heart was full of sorrow, but what hurt him more was that his only friend died in battle. Soon after, the light in Paul's eyes completely faded. He longed for the war to end soon, but unfortunately, the general was a warmonger. Even though the leaders had signed surrender papers, he still refused to admit defeat. So an hour before the truce, he ordered soldiers to attack again. If anyone dared to resist, they would be shot on the spot. Compared to soldiers' precious lives, the general cared more for pride and honor. There was no choice. The soldiers returned to the battlefield again, but this time, Paul wasn't so lucky. He was ambushed by the enemy. Just then, the ceasefire bell finally rang. Paul used his last bit of strength and slowly walked out of the dark bunker. Though his life was fading away, he still wanted to see the sky after the war. Once his eyes were full of hope, but now only endless emptiness remained. At that moment, there was no more fighting on the Western Front, but the young soldier stayed there forever.